Welcome to the Defense and Aerospace Report. I'm Vago Muradian in Norfolk, Virginia, where we're covering NATO Allied Command Transformations, Chiefs of Transformation Conference, an annual gathering of transformation leaders from across the Atlantic Alliance. And we're talking to Mike Yeagley, who is the Vice President for Global Defense at PlanetRisk's. Mike, you're one of a number of different innovative contractors that's here. Innovation, obviously, one of the keynotes of this conference. What are some of the capabilities that you guys have? What is PlanetRisk and what do you bring the Atlantic Alliance?
It's all about data and bringing lots of data into a platform that analysts and policymakers can use to advance the mission, understand situational awareness, understand the events that are occurring. The words that we're hearing a lot are anticipation and prediction, and how does the exploitation and the fusion of data make that decision aperture really, really easy.
One of the things that you guys have on your display is both fascinating and troubling all at the same time. You guys are able to use cell phones to track folks all around the world. Tell us what the application of that technology is, and also one of the really specific and fascinating examples that you had, which was kind of a holy cow moment.
So it's really about using the very same practices that commercial marketers and brands use against us every day to put advertising on our mobile devices. The same kind of processes, the analytical processes, can be used for things like security, understanding if people are converging around your assets, your facilities, who may be engaged in various kinds of surveillance or other types of activity that you would be concerned about based upon their patterns of life and their travel behaviors.
And so what was one of the fascinating examples that you gave me earlier about, so basically what you're using is available cell phone information, the app profile that's individual to each one of us, it's like a fingerprint, and how you use that through open sources to track folks who ended up being a very good guy, but he had been in a place that's potentially not necessarily as good.
Right. So in this use case, we're looking at troubled areas of the world, and we're able to see people who are involved in either humanitarian relief or NGOs. We're able to see them traveling through the U.S. into the war zone, out of the war zone, and really being able to determine what and who that type of person is based upon their travel patterns.
What is, from your guys' standpoint, how much traction have you had? What are your growth plans? Where do you expect to be in 5 years on this? Because what you're offering is sort of the secret sauce with available technology, but there are also a lot of other folks who are competing in this space.
Right. So what we do differently is we're bringing data as well as analytical horsepower to the table. So instead of our customers having to think about, okay, I've got this really great enterprise piece of software that's going to do prediction and anticipation. Now what data do I feed into it? PlanetRisk is solving that problem for them too. So we're looking at it from the perspective of how do we source the data, how do we put it in a visualization capsule so that they can make those decisions faster.
And when you look at it from an Internet of Things standpoint, the more connected we are, the more traceable we are, and so that's driving people to become less traceable. What are some of the challenges that present when folks start to look at these devices that they take for granted as, they're important tools for our survival, but they're also important eavesdropping and tracking tools, right? I mean, we basically have a personal homing beacon on each one of us.
Right. So it's interesting. I think as the next generation of children grow up, they are all digitally native. And so we're kind of growing accustomed to this kind of behavior, to this kind of tracking. As we presented today earlier, the concept of autonomy at rest, where all of this IoT data is being used to refine the models, to refine the predictions and the capability to anticipate, makes all of these smart systems even smarter.
Mike, thanks very, very much. Have a great holiday.
Thank you very much. You too.